I remember when me and her were laying on the bed together with absolutely nothing on. She looks over at me and says, Bubba, you definitely have a bigger eggplant than all your friends. Wait, what did you just say? Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another really embarrassing story. So this story all takes place back in my high school years, and this was my grade 11 year. Now, back when I was in grade 11, I did believe in true love. I believed that, you know, me being a hopeless romantic will eventually lead to me actually falling in love with someone that I could see myself with forever until I got old. But obviously, it didn't seem as realistic as I thought it would be now that I'm, you know, telling all the stories about all my past loves that never really worked out. But going on with the story, I remember my grade 11 year, there was a girl that was an exchange student that came from a different country, and she actually came down to our school for that year. Now, when I first heard about this girl, I only heard rumors from my friends saying that she was super hot and that she was super attractive. But me, I never actually met her until one day. I remember I ended up going into my math class in grade 11, and I saw that she was in my math class. It was very obvious that she was the new girl, by the way, because one, she was wearing something that I gotta say was very revealing and made her cherries pop like an animal. But at the same time, she was just naturally super attractive, and let's just say she didn't look like most other girls at the school. So I remember from there, I ended up basically walking up to her, and I basically ended up introducing myself, me thinking that she was just a new girl and stuff, and you know, me just trying to be nice and also probably try to riz her up here and there. I remember she looked at me and said, "Oh, you're Bubba, right? I've heard about you. Some girls were talking about you in the other class." Yeah, that's me. So like, what's going on? "Oh, nothing, just preparing for my first day at math class." "Okay, cool. Well, if you need help with anything, just let me know, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not that good at math, so like, you're gonna have to kind of figure it out yourself, but I mean, I'll enjoy the company." I remember from there, she ended up laughing at me, but at the same time, like, I did say something that was pretty pathetic. Until one thing led to another. In the middle of class, when it was downtime and people were just working on the worksheets that our teacher handed out earlier, she ended up walking up to me and sitting beside me saying, "Hey Bubba, I was wondering, can you help me out with this?" And from there, I'm not gonna lie to you, me and her, we started talking more, and we ended up exchanging social media accounts. And well, let's just say I knew at that point that I was in, but I guess I wasn't the only one that was in, because I remember around lunchtime, me and all the boys, we would always meet up upstairs in like the corner of the cafeteria where most people wouldn't see us do goofy stuff and just, you know, talk about our shenanigans throughout the school year. And when I walked up to the boys at lunch in the cafeteria, I ended up seeing all of them being pretty excited and happy. I didn't know why, nor did I understand what was going on, but at the same time, I ended up basically hanging out with them, and I started looking at all of them, and all of them were kind of just happy about something, but I wasn't sure what. Until eventually, one of my friends that was, well, I'm gonna say more on the uglier side, ended up looking at all of us saying, "Yo guys, why you guys like all like looking at each other? Like, what's going on? Why are you guys all in like a happy mood? You guys all look like you guys just did the devil's tango." At that point, I remember everyone just ended up putting their phones down and just basically looking at each other, and we started talking about anything else other than why we were super happy. And I'm not gonna lie, I was also super happy, but the reason I was happy couldn't possibly be the same reason why they were happy, right? Let's just say this story gets a lot more intense, because I remember throughout the week going down, I started interacting and basically messaging this girl that was the new girl at our school. And I kept messaging her, and me and her, we would flirt together. And it got to a point where, I'm not gonna lie, some nights me and her, we would send some pretty spicy photos at night. And I'm not gonna lie to you, things were getting really close between me and this girl. But at the same time, at school, one weird thing that ended up happening one day throughout the week, one of the boys ended up saying, "I'm not gonna lie, boys, I'm gonna say this right now, I don't think I'm gonna be single for long." At that point, me and all the boys ended up looking at this one specific dude that said that, and we looked at him saying, "Wait, what do you mean? You met a girl?" And at that point, everyone's faces started smiling even more, as if we all just met a new girl. At the same time, all of us started being excited for each other, but at the same time, I started realizing that what are the actual chances between all the guys actually meeting girls throughout the school year at the same time? Like, does that make any sense? Going on with the story, I remember the weekend comes around, and during the weekend, I remember the only thing I really ever focused on was just me hanging out and talking to this girl. And it got to a point where I remember I ended up messaging this girl and saying, "Yo, so I was just wondering, like, do you want to like maybe like hang out this weekend?" Yeah, sure. When would you like to hang out?" I was just thinking, like, you know, maybe like Sunday if you're free." I mean, I can do Sunday after like 6:30. Okay, yeah, cool. Sunday, 6:30. I'll see you then." I found it really odd how she wanted to meet later in the night, but at the same time, I was like, okay, sure, whatever. But then at that same day that I asked the girl out, I remember I hopped on my Xbox and I started playing Call of Duty with the boys, but But in the party chat, one of the boys ended up mentioning to me, yo, I'm not gonna lie, boys, I just want to say I got a date this weekend, so like things are gonna go crazy. At that point, I was super lost because I was like, wait, so he met a new girl, he's going on a date this weekend, what is going on here? I remember I ended up asking my friend questions about like, you know, who was the girl and all this stuff, but him, for some reason, he wanted to keep it low key, as if like, you know, he wasn't trying to, you know, get us too overhyped about him getting a new girlfriend or a potential girlfriend. And at the same time, I didn't mention anything about me having a date because I didn't want to like, you know, try to like take his spotlight, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I just didn't want to be rude because obviously we were happy for him, right? But me realizing it now, I wish I mentioned something, because I remember the day of the date when this new girl ended up basically planned to go on a date with each other. Me and her, we ended up basically meeting up at like a cafe that was like in our city, and me and her, we started like drinking coffee together, and me and her, we got to know each other, and she was a really good girl. And honestly, I gotta say, one thing we connected on a lot was that we both did the Devil's Tango a lot throughout our high school years. Like, I'm not joking, she was almost as much as a player as I was. Obviously my body count's higher, but I mean, she was still a player. And I guess from there I kind of got the ick from her, but at the same time she was still hot, so obviously I wasn't not gonna take her home. So I remember from there, me and her, we ended up actually like, you know, deciding to go back to my place together, and me and her, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. I'm not gonna lie, this girl had major experience, but one thing I will say was that something felt off a little bit down there. Going on, I remember after me and her, we did the Devil's Tango. I remember me and her both lied down beside each other on my bed, wearing absolutely nothing, by the way. And she looks over at me and says, Baba, can I be honest with you about something? Yeah, sure. What's up? I gotta say, out of all your friends, you are definitely the biggest. What? Is what I said. And at that point, I started to realize, and actually connecting all the dots together, that this girl literally did my entire friend group. At that point, I was so grossed out, and I remember I stood up and I'm like, wait, what? And at that point, I remember I ended up grabbing my phone, calling one of my homies that apparently said that he met a new girl. And I ended up calling him saying, is your new girl the new girl at our school? Yeah, why? Wait, how'd you find out? Dude, she's on my bed right now, is what he said afterwards. And at that point, I remember when we got to school on Monday, bro, none of us wanted to do anything with this girl because this girl was whack and she was a major player. But at the same time, I was as well. So am I really that bad of a person to say that? I don't really know. But to be honest with you, one thing I can say is that you guys should definitely follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.